Hi, sorry about the picture with our tongues out. I was playing with my granddaughter Selah, and we were being silly, and the camera caught us with our tongue out. We kind of tried to do that, didn't we, Selah? Okay, so we are going to read from the King James Version. Selah is going to stand in front of me today, so you'll get to see her a lot. She's 2 years old. How old are you? Two. Two. Good. Okay, so here we go. I'm reading in First Corinthians chapter 9. And I'm going to start with verse number 12. If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather, nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Christ. So you don't want to hinder the gospel of Christ. You want to preach it not with um, you don't want to preach in a way that you are speaking the truth in such harshness that you just bash people over the head. What you do want to do is speak the truth in love. God said to preach the gospel, which is good news of Jesus. So we want to preach the good news that Jesus came from heaven to earth, was holy, born of a virgin, grew up and died on the cross for our sins. He paid the ransom for humanity. So then you want to preach that, and that he died and was laid in the tomb for 3 days and rose up from the grave. The Father in heaven raised him to life, and he appeared to people and went back to heaven. Tell them also, once they receive Jesus, sincerely to obey Jesus. We must teach them to obey and continue in Jesus. It's very important. See John 14:15 for that. We're in verse 13. Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. So if you are full-time ministry, then you can live of the gospel. You can, you don't have to get a job on the side. You can just, of course, you're still going to be helping poor people, the orphans and widows, with some of the money, but you are able to buy food with some of the money that people may bless you with as you are preaching the gospel. But do not go around forcing people to give some sort of tithe, because that was the old covenant thing, the tithe. And now people are just to give what is on their heart. So whatever God had put on that person's heart to give, then accept it in kindness and in love and in gratefulness, but do not force people to give. Do not compel people. Do not coerce people. If they want to give, they can give. Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void. So, I'm not saying it's a sin to, you know, to have an income of your own and preach the gospel. But if you want to be full-time, you do not have to have your own income. Okay, so no condemnation. All right, ask God what he wants you to do. But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory void. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me, if I preach not the gospel. We all should preach the gospel. Jesus commanded us to go into all the world and preach the gospel. So we're to go and teach them to observe all that Jesus commanded. We're to teach them to observe all that Jesus commanded. So I'm going to end this video and check on my granddaughter. God bless all who seek after God with all their heart, mind, soul, and strength.